Hello again, everybody. My name is DM Cross. Welcome back to Praetor Magic. This is Reflections of the Council, our live podcast here on twitch.tv/Praetor Magic, which we do every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, or, a little after because Phyrexian doesn't want to pick up the call and he's late. Thanks, Phyrexian.
Yeah, we're sick kids and stuff. Whatever the excuse is.
You can't prove anything. I could have been lying about that this whole time. No, my kids were late. We are a little late. Sorry about my kids were sick. I was a little late. Sorry about that. We got there. We're getting there somehow. So, this is another Monday. How's your Monday going?
It's been a pretty good Monday, all things considered.
Well, sick kids aside, my Monday has been all right, but it's been an interesting week, I should say, because in the world of Magic: The Gathering, they're continuing the preview seasons for War of the Spork. Yes, I did say Spork. You didn't hear me wrong. I'm just gonna own it now because I'm an idiot. And we got some really cool previews since the last podcast where I think it's a good idea for us to focus on these because I think they're kind of important, especially for how we tend to play the game, which is via commander. So they're legendary creatures. That's where we're going. And of course, last time we talked about legendary creatures too. That was like, hey, let's focus on the legendary creatures that we got. But more came out, and these are special ones. Rexin, why are they special ones?
Because they happen to have this one little tagline that says God. Except they're all zombie gods.
No, they're not all zombie gods.
Well, I guess that's fair. There's a boar god.
Yeah. So I do want to put a quick disclaimer before we get too deep into the conversation. We are very normally against putting up unofficially previewed content. We don't typically talk about leaks. I think last week somebody even asked, are we going to talk about the leaked content that there was? We said no. This one time we are going to. It's going to be the last one that we talk about. And the reason for that is just because one of the guides hasn't officially been previewed, but by the time this video hits YouTube and the podcast, I'm sure it will be. But it would make not a lot of sense to not have the whole thing and then have to talk about this one thing next time, plus whatever else we wrap up with for the fourth and final time with War of the Spork. So we're gonna save that till the end. I will, full warning and everything when we do it, so that if you do not want to have the early preview stuff, even for you folks on YouTube or podcast land, if it isn't out yet. Again, I think it will be, but it might not be. But we did talk to start this. We did mention that they're not all zombie gods. Why are they zombie gods? Nobody knows. We're going to find out soon. But let's talk about the non-zombie god first. Do you know how to say this one, Rexine?
No, I can make my best stab at it. Ilharg, the raised boar?
Ilharg.
Ilharg, the raised boar? I have no idea if that's right or not, but that's what I'm going to say it. 3 and 2 red. It's a legendary creature. It's a boar god. Do I need to say more? That's a 6/6 creature with trample. And when Ilharg, the raised boar, attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Return that creature to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. You just get to, throw a creature out. It attacks. It's tapped and attacking already, Maybe something big. Probably. And then when Ilharg, the raised boar, dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library third from the top, which is the line that all of the God Eternal have.
Yeah. So that's kind of similar to how the original Amonkhet gods were, that were not indestructible, right? So there was the cycle of 5 single color ones. They were indestructible, and they were just indestructible. So you had to exile to get rid of them. Then the 3 Bolus's 3 gods, the Scarab God, the Scorpion God, and the Locust God, were not indestructible, but had text that when they would die on the next end step or your next end step, I can't remember which. I'm pretty sure it's the next end step.
I think
they would go back to your hand.
Yes.
So this is kind of similar. This time they don't go to your hand; they go into your library 3 down. This is a little bit more dangerous, especially for commander players, because if somebody has a way to force you to shuffle, a big example that a lot of people were saying was Field of Ruin, which does cause everybody to shuffle because everybody gets to fetch a land. There's potential that you're going to basically tuck your own commander, even though the commander tuck rule has kind of been not a thing for a while. So it's a little bit more dangerous if you don't have a way to like instantly draw it back. But still, I think I mean, you could always just put it in the command zone. If you're that worried about it, you just use the replacement effect. Put it in the command zone. You don't have to worry about it. So for Ilharg, um, I think it's cool. It's cheating. Like we talked not last week, but the week before that, the first time we did War of the Spork, we talked about Bolus's Citadel, and we talked about how strong it is to cheat mana cost. And this is what this is doing. It's just there's an extra step. You have to do something to get that cheat. In this case, you have to attack with Ilharg. So uh there's been so many people coming up with so many different like crazy combos or like things that you can drop with Ilharg in order to get like this max value. It's important to note that the creature does enter the battlefield tapped and attacking, which means that it skips over the part where it attacks. So
Yeah.
your
No Annihilator
Atali's,
triggers.
yeah, Annihilator's
No
a really good
Atali's.
one. No Atali. So you're not gonna get that part. And then the fact that it pops back up in your hand. If you like, you could even, I didn't even think about this, and I don't know if a lot of people thought about this, but like Siege Gang Commander, getting the tokens in and having Perforos there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like you get those kind of cool effects, and then other ETB effects that could be really strong. Uh, what was the really big one that everybody was saying right when Ilhar got previewed? What's the biggest, dumbest red ETB thing you can think of? I know there's like the Minotaur from Theros that can deal damage equal to your devotion. There's probably some ETB like looters and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at what some of the other ones were that was coming around on Twitter, but there was one that was like everybody's like, oh, you could drop this and then drop that, and if it's not your commander, right? So if you have Ilharg in like a multicolor deck, you can get like some really crazy stuff going on, like some of the gods even, because there was a couple people who were talking about like dropping at least another really cool god for me for colors. I'm sure probably for Phyrexian 2 for colors.
Yeah.
It still has to survive combat. That's true. New Dark Cloud mentions that it has to survive combat, which I mean in red has some big dumb stuff. So, oh, you know what? The big dumb one was Master of Cruelties. If you have a deck that has Rakdos or at least black in it, along with other colors, you drop Master of Cruelties. Masters of Cruelties ability says that when it attacks and isn't blocked, the defending creature's life total becomes 1, and it normally has to attack alone. So you normally don't get that extra point of damage. It's a common combo with Kalia decks, because what you do is you attack with Kalia, you put the Master of Cruelties out. If Master of Cruelties can't be blocked, the life total becomes 1, and then Kalia does the 2 points of damage from herself. So you kind of instant kill somebody. And this kind of does the same thing. So if you're attacking somebody who can't block Master of Cruelties after it pops down, you basically kill them, because the 6 Ilhard damage is going to go after life total becomes 1. So there you go. There's a nice dumb combo for you. You like that?
Yeah. It's a pretty good dumb combo.
But so since
You
we
have
are
to be playing another color. You don't get him as your commander that way, but I mean, still a good dumb combo.
yeah. So do you think Ilhar goes in Kalia decks now, even though he doesn't have the Demon Angel or Dragon types? It's
I mean,
just like
could.
another way to get there.
Yeah. I mean, it's redundancy in the Kalia theme. A little bit.
Yeah, I would say it's very much in theme, because it's all about cheating costs. Like that's Kalia.
Yeah.
That's why Kalia is stupid scary, is because she cheats costs. And again, that's what we talk about, is like super strong to do. When you don't have to pay for your cards, you're typically at a higher advantage than everybody else is, because you get to play your cards and then you get this free thing. So I like the fact that it is bounce back to your hand. It's kind of reminiscent of Dash from Tarkir, where you would pay, something would come out and then it would come back to your hand.
I didn't even think about that, but it is a very good parallel to Dash in that mechanic. Just a nod back to, hey, it isn't. Hey, we're doing things Red likes to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still like the new Red thing of like revealing from the top or doing this stuff. Like, I like the fact that red is getting advantage in different ways.
Yeah.
Now if they could only do it for mono white, you know?
They're working on it. You got Smothering Tide. You got Dawn of Hope. Draw power.
Yeah,
You have
they've
Dawn of
given
Hope.
a couple minor things. Like red's done a very good job recently, and white I could use a little bit more.
I would love to be in like Wizards R&D and just like not even in like actually working there, but just like a fly on the wall. And there's like a list of things that they need to accomplish, and make mono red stronger is like at the top of the list, and then make mono whites like third on the list. It's like, yeah, whatever, we'll get there. I do think mono white has naturally more stuff going for it than mono red, because mono red doesn't have like as many wrath effects as mono white. Mono white has like
That's
the weenies theme to it, whereas mono red had burn, which has never been really strong except for, well, no, I guess I don't want to say except for standard, because modern has burn decks too, but not as like prevalent as some of the other decks.
yeah. Well, which god eternal do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. I know we hinted at one that we both like. We want to just dive right in and get the, because we're not going in color pie order, obviously.
No, I mean we started with a boar, so
Yeah, well, it's the only non-zombie one. Spoiler alert. Oh, that's not technically true, because we're gonna throw you all a curveball at some point. But I don't know. Which one do you want to go? Pick a color, any color.
let's just do black.
All right.
Let's just do it.
Do it. All right. So the black one.
We talked about Rakdos card, so it's on theme, right?
Yeah. And actually, this card would be fine for you to drop with Ilharg because of the crazy fun combos that I'm sure can come out of it. This is God Eternal Bantu. Zombie God, as we talked about before. It is 3 black. It is also a mythic, like Ilharg was. It's got Menace and is a 5/6. So I like that black is, by the way, getting a lot of the Menace stuff. It's like the new keyword for them to have, it seems like. I don't think they need a new keyword, personally, but I'll take it. When God Eternal Bantu enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of other permanents. Then draw that many cards. And then ends with the line text where you can put it third from the top in your library if it dies. Or is exiled. I almost forgot. So, any number of other permanents, you sacrifice whatever you want, and you then draw that many cards. So, it's kind of like, it was funny, people were saying this is reprocess with teeth. If you remember the old card reprocess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I think, who was it? I think like Shivlin Bat from or Bot, I think it's how it's pronounced. From the Commander in podcast, who came around and started telling people, it's like, no, reprocess always had teeth. But I see what you're saying. The big stupid people have been predicting that this is going to be kind of a combo-y card in standard. The big thing being like you sacrifice all your lands and a World Shaper, which is a 4-drop. So next turn you basically drop this, sacrifice your whole board more or less, at least as far as lands and World Shaper. World Shaper, when it dies, you bring all your lands back to the battlefield. So you kind of get to draw at least 5 cards, I would imagine, because you've got to have 5 for Bantu, and Standard doesn't have like that many mana rocks. And then I just have to see one thing. Okay, World Shaper does bring them onto the battlefield tapped, so you don't get like go crazy and cast 5 mana's worth of stuff over again. Although that would be funny. So, yeah.
Still not bad though. You know, draw 5 cards, don't really lose anything.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of other ways to abuse this too. Like even if you're just doing a mono black shell, where mono black likes sacrificing things anyway, but then like think like, let's say you're doing some treasures. You know, you got a Revel in Riches in play, or you got a Pitiless Plunder or something like that. Then you can sacrifice those treasures when Bantu comes into play to draw cards. You can sacrifice, you know, you can turn a lot of different things. You got the token sub thing. I mean, just I don't know if he's Krav good, but he's pretty good.
Yeah. Are you saying that in response to New Dark? Because New Dark even asked, is this a good alternative to Krav as a sack outlet? I think Krav is always going to be a little bit stronger because you can control it more, and it's easier to repeat. right? Like you only have to. It costs mana,
Yeah,
but you
it's
continue
one
to do
black
it.
to repeat. I think they're a little bit different though because Krub does only do creatures, whereas this does
Oh yeah, permanence. That's good. That's a good point.
permanents. So you can like I said with Krub you can just do your creature tokens and stuff like that. But with this, you can sacrifice. Piteous Plunderer is in play. You get a bunch of tokens from killing the things. You can sacrifice those too. But like you said, it is harder to repeat because with Krub it's just I just need one more black and then I repeat it.
Yeah, and
Um,
black's
so
not
they're
really
different
known for
sorts
bounce
of good.
effects.
Yeah, I think they're different sorts of good.
Yeah.
I could even see like letting this die and putting in a mimic vet or something though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I'd see something like that, like just finding a way to recur, or I mean, you can always run a Conjurer's Closet in a Bantu deck.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
mean,
reason.
you
There are
figure.
ways to do it if you're
Yeah,
gonna be really dedicated to that theme of being able to Bantu multiple times. It's kind of like being able to Gonti
yeah,
multiple times.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. You kind of have like the Gonti shell of how best to either get it into your graveyard and then get it back on top, which is, I mean, it's a May to put it into the library, so you can let it just go to the graveyard and then whatever the enchantment is to put it back on top, like the very top. That way you're drawing it next turn. Actually, if you respond to Bantu's trigger by putting it on top, you draw it back immediately. You know what I mean? Like if you can sacrifice
Yeah,
Bantu in response to the trigger and then use that enchantment, which I cannot remember for the life of me the name. I think it's like one black, put a card from your graveyard on top of your library. You then get to redraw Bantu immediately. That's pretty good.
yeah. I can
So
definitely see like he's very combo-ish
yeah.
in general. I think
New Dark asks, does this go in the 99 or is it commander worthy by itself?
I can see people making a commander deck out of this.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I think
so.
it's gonna be one of those that you have to build around, like a Gonti,
Yeah.
like something else. But I can definitely see it like being at the helm of a mono black deck.
So is it gonna be a good zombie commander with how many good zombie commanders we have?
Uh,
Hmm. A hard
no.
question, right?
There's so many better zombie commanders in black or in Demir
Yeah.
that I wouldn't run this as a zombie commander. But
I think if I were to put this in the 99 of a zombie deck, the two oh no, I guess there's three main ones. Either I would put it in a Ghoul Caller Gisa deck, because she's gonna make the tokens, and then you're just gonna bring uh Bantu down to draw cards off the tokens. A Gisa and draw off deck because you can cast it from the graveyard. So you don't even have to put it third down. You just once a turn you get your zombie back, and this could be your zombie because it's a zombie god. And then Sidisi was the other one because you tend to get a decent amount of tokens. Sultai is Sidisi. So when you kind of like self mill yourself, but you can even it's third from the down, third from the top. So if you were to attack with Sidisi, you would put it into your graveyard from there.
yeah,
But then, like, zombie not having recursion would be a ridiculous deck anyway. So then you just cast from the graveyard.
Do Voltage says he can't wait for a 5-color God zombie tribal.
Five color god zombie
I think you're
travel?
almost. Yeah, he said 5-color God zombie tribal. Yeah, but I think you're almost to the point like because you had what 23 gods before now, and then you have another 5 here. You're
Yeah.
almost to the point that you can just like run 5-color gods.
Yeah.
Just run God tribal.
I'm pretty sure, like, people already do run god travel, right? Like, we've seen it on Commander Versus. I'm pretty sure we've seen it on Commander Clash. We haven't seen it on game nights because they don't typically, like, do themes like that. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's already god tribal decks out there. So there's just like these are just gonna be tossed in there and have different effects one way or the other. Like Bantu in a god tribal deck where like Gilead can spit out tokens or whatever. That's not bad, you know. Like you just make a few tokens, then you play or play Bantu, and then you get
And you got
draw
Perforce out
cards.
there
Yeah, there you
dealing
go.
2
There's the
damage every
value.
time one of those tokens gets made. Then you've got a Ketra who's like, hey, I got double strike with all these tokens.
Not just god tribal, zombie gods only because I main zombies. I have 15 zombie decks. Oh my god,
Wow,
that's a lot of
that's
zombie decks.
dedication to a theme right there.
I mean, like we're saying, right? There's a lot of zombie commanders available, so it's not hard to go out and like you can almost pick a non-zombie commander. I used to run a white black zombie deck before a Monkette hit, right? So before we had the big support, just because I like Necromancer's Covenant, and my commander was Karlov because I thought that hey, when my zombies get lifelink from Covenant and each one hits and each one triggers Karlov, and then I get a big Karlov, and then I basically have, as long as I have mana open, I just get the like Lux Cannon things out the game. So, it's not impossible. But what's your favorite tribe? Gee, I wonder. 15 zombie decks. I wonder. Did we say is Ilharg a good commander or a good 99? I don't know if we said it.
I think Ilharg is probably better than the 99, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just kind of hard to build around. I mean, his ability with just red.
Yeah, I try to think of all these.
I think he could be cooler in like in a Gruul or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he is a raised boar after all, so that's the Gruul.
People were a little surprised when he didn't come out Gruul colored, but again, like I think the fact that
they're making up for the lack of the Hazaret.
Yeah, that's basically like I think it was more of a cycle fix than anything. But it is kind of hard to find like a mono red ETB based deck unless you're just running mono red big dumb stuff and you're just using Ilharg to.
I mean, if you're gonna run mono red ETB, you should be running like Kiki Jiki or something like that.
Yeah,
like they're better commanders for that deck.
That's kind of sorta because Kiki I always think of more just combo specifically, and like yeah, a lot of her combos are ETB based, but the combos that you're running in Kiki are not the same kind of combos that you're gonna want to run in Ilharg. So I just think it's gonna be not quite the same.
All right. Wow. Which God Eternal do you want to talk about next?
Well, so we might as well get the best two colors out the way. We already talked about black, so let's just move on ahead and talk about the green. I should know that they all are God Eternal instead of just typing the god's name and then trying to find out about it. So God Eternal Ronus, Snake God, back at it again, Snakes, is another zombie god mythic. It's a 5/5 death touch for 3 green. Are they all the same?
No.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, Kefnet is one cheaper than the others.
Interesting.
All the other ones are 5, but Kefnet's 4.
Interesting, and Kefnet might be one of the dumbest. But we're gonna get to that in a second. Anyway, when God Eternal Ronus enters the battlefield, double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. And then again, the type line where it goes 3 down from the top of your library if it dies. This is actually probably the most underwhelming so far.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's also not as impactful as the other ones.
Double the power is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But why vigilance instead of trample?
So I've been saying for a little while now that I think vigilance is massively underrated in terms of a keyword, because you get to now kind of attack freely and not worry about not 100% not worry about it, but for the most part you get to kind of not worry about crackback, because that's like the thing about Craterhoof is that you can attack somebody full out and you can probably kill somebody, but if they attack, if the rest of the table's like, oh crap, look at what he did, you don't want that to happen to you, and they just kill you because you're open. So with vigilance you don't have to do that. It's actually funny because in the for the Enraged Forerunners that came out in the last set, which people kind of dubbed as like baby Craterhoof, gives them +2/+2 vigilance and trample. Not obviously the big boost that Craterhoof gives, but again, I think this is almost as good because of the vigilance. Craterhoof doesn't give vigilance; it's just the bigger boost and trample.
I'd agree with that, except normally when you're playing a Craterhoof, everyone's just dying anyway. So they aren't getting a chance to swing back because they're already dead. But my thing is, like, look at the original Ronus, right? Ronus the Indomitable. Can't attack or block unless creature you control another creature with power 4 or greater. Death touch indestructible. And then for 2 and a green, another target creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample. So, but then we're departing from that. Instead, he gives vigilance, but he doubles the creature's power. And I'm just saying, doubling the creature's power seems like something that's a lot better with trample than vigilance. Because with vigilance, okay, yes, now the creature's twice as big, and okay, until end of turn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But and yes, they're probably not going to die, but you just chump block like a 1/1 blocks it, unless it's a creature that already has trample. But if you double the power and it has trample, then that's like a big deal. But like, it's kind of like with the vigilance, it's kind of like meh. I mean, it's good, but it's like okay. Whereas if it was trample, it'd be like, hey, that's a good card. Like it would almost compare to the Kefnet.
I mean,
Like
for Commander though, isn't
in my
there?
opinion, because right now I do feel like it's weaker than certainly Kefnet and Bantu, and probably the Raise Boar, like probably a little weaker than the Raise Boar, and then we'll talk about the other one later. But
Yeah. Isn't Commander though like mono green doesn't have a whole bunch of ways to give trample already? So like if you're let's say building it as your commander, right? You already know you're putting in like Nylea. You already know that you might put in
yeah,
like the
the
other
other
ways.
Ronus.
Yeah, like you already know you're gonna put in all these other ways to give trample to all your stuff anyway. So the bonus, like, I think we're so used to Crater Hoof effects that we're not always thinking about like we're not just wrapping our brains around the way that this is another way to do mono green a little differently, where you just build big stuff anyway. Or like, what if your big stuff just has trample? What if you just had trample like tribal and put Ronus as the commander? So all your commanders are like all your creatures are like 4/4s and 5/5s, but they all have trample. Now they're all 8/8s and 10/10s with vigilance, and they had trample. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think we're all just so used to Craterhoof giving us the trample. Not that I don't want to say we took advantage of it, but it's just we're not used to having to find another way to get that damage in, or like menace, or like some other kind of evasion. Maybe all your green creatures have flying. What if you have mono green bugs? I don't know. I'm just
that's
saying.
kind of bugging me.
All right, you know what? If you're not gonna take this seriously, I'm gonna end this podcast. um,
I mean, you're the one who just proposed a mono green bug deck, okay? Who's not taking this seriously?
there you go. And this is actually an idea that I had when this got previewed. Do Voltage 88 says an interesting thought with Ronus that would work is he worked with infect decks. That's a thing. Especially like if you triumph of the hordes and then drop Ronus, or drop Ronus and then triumph of the hordes, one way or the other. I know that people are gonna be like, well, that's a lot of mana, but I mean, you're in mono green.
Yeah, you're in
Yes,
mono green.
you
9
should
is not a lot
have.
of mana.
Yeah, you should have all the mana anyway.
Yes. 9
Um,
is 9 is decidedly very little mana in a mono green deck.
I mean, that's turn 4. Come on,
Yeah. Yeah, if you
get
don't
with
have
the green
if you don't
decks,
have 9 mana by at least turn 5, you're playing mono green wrong.
or you're just having an awful hand. But ooh, I
Yeah.
digress.
I mean I mean I can see it. I just do think he's like
Yeah, it's not the mono green that we're used to, and I think that's what people have to like start thinking about. Is that like, okay, this is not what we're used to. We have to do mono green differently. Um,
whereas this God Eternal Kefnet for 2 and 2 blue
oh god,
is exactly the mono blue you were expecting.
it both was, and I'm also disappointed at the same time. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
So
Go ahead.
it has flying, and you may reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, copy that card, and you may cast the copy. That copy costs 2 less to cast. And then it has the same tagline that when it dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library third from the top.
Yeah,
They
it
all
ain't
have that
dying.
tagline.
That's where we're going with this. They're
This
not dying normally anyway.
Ooh, I 100% disagree with you on that dual vote. This Kefnet is not trash, and the old Kefnet is not better.
Whoa. Whoa. I don't think people are realizing that extra turn spells in Commander are going to be like a thing. And that's like my biggest fear with this. And like it is a fear because people are going to be like, haha, look at how cool this is. And it's like, no, it's not cool for everybody else in that table, my man. But
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many powerful like instants and sorceries.
yeah. So the thing about this, right? There's a couple things about this that make it really good. One, you get to copy the spell, so you don't even lose a card out of your hand for this effect.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And again, with extra turn spells, it becomes more important. So if I reveal most popular one, most recent, most popular one, if I reveal Nexus of Fate and cast Nexus of Fate, I still have Nexus of Fate in my hand. So that's basically like saying I'm getting 2 extra turns. Because as long as I play the next turn, and why would I not want to? Like, that's just really good. Then the fact that it, again, we talk about cheating costs. So now Nexus of Fate, which is a 5-drop, right?
Nexus is 7.
7. Oh, I'm thinking it's colorless or generic mana is 5, but it becomes a 5-drop, which
Yeah.
ironically, you play Kefnet on turn 4. You could play then Nexus of Fate on turn 5 off the top. Ta-da! You did it, and you still have Nexus of Fate for
Yeah.
later.
And Clicky saying Time Warp is 1 blue, so you've got 3 mana, take an extra turn. And he also pointed out that Kefnet and Brainstorm is infinite cantrips, which is something that I saw too, and that's pretty insane. Because you just Brainstorm, use the copy of Brainstorm to put Brainstorm back, so you can draw Brainstorm again, so you can just keep cantripping every single turn if you want to.
Yep.
I mean, is it the best use of your time? Maybe not, but maybe.
I already thought once this was revealed, and I was trying not to say anything because I didn't want people to already be doing it. I kind of wanted to be like the person to think about it. But God Kefnet or God Eternal Kefnet in an Aminato deck with a extra turn spell is infinite extra turns because Aminato's plus ability is to draw a card, then put a card back on top. So you basically set up your extra turn because you get to keep that card. That's what always gets me about this is that it's not just reveal the top if it's an instant and sorcery, play it and get it 2 less. It's or like play it and get an additional copy, right? Like that would be strong as well. So if you revealed Nexus of Fate on turn 5 and got 2 extra turns, that'd be still really strong. The fact that you get to keep it for later and do whatever you want with it. So now I can reveal Nexus of Fate, get an extra turn, Aminato plus Aminato, put Nexus of Fate back on top of my deck, still have a card drawn for the turn because she draws the card, and then next turn I do it again. And then I have basically won the game unless somebody can interact with that combo in that moment. Or if they want to let me take a few extra turns or whatever. That's just like, that's so dumb. This was so easily like broken in like 5 minutes of it being previewed. I don't know if they meant to make like a really broken commander. I don't know if they're just like, it'll figure itself out, or people just hate it off the field, which is, I mean, it's not super easy to hate off the field because it goes into the library. It's hard to kill.
Yeah, and the fact that if you're playing this as your commander, you're playing mono blue, and you have plenty of ways to protect it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think Kefnet's gonna be a combo piece both in the command zone and in decks.
in index, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the most played of the gods. I think people are always going to get a kick out of Ilharg and Bantu. I think people are going to continue to dismiss Ronus. And we're not going to talk about the other one just yet. But I think this is the one that's going to see the most amount of play in Commander. Like I give it, what's today? Today's the 15th of April, and the set comes out early May or like end of April, right? Early May or mid May. I bet if we come back 30 days after the set comes out and we look at data from EDHREC, I bet you Kefnet's going to be the one that is played the most.
I would not take the opposite of that bet. So
Yeah.
I'm with you there. Do Voltage did say the only way he would play Kefnet is Mono Blue Mill EDH deck or draw Labman deck, to be honest. Um,
Oh, this cabinet in like a Labman deck? It's not. That's not a terrible idea.
yeah.
You
I mean,
can't.
yeah, no, it's an idea. I mean, uh,
Can you can you play an X spell like this? Because this is an alternative. No, it's not an alternative cost,
no,
right?
you're
You're
revealing it. It's a copy of the card, and you're casting the copy. So you 100% can use X spells with this. Yeah.
so you can like blue some zeniths off of this for all your mana +2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not impossible. Again, I think it's gonna be more combo-gistic than that. Like, not that that's bad, but like Lab Maniac decks are typically played in a way where it's like once Lab Maniac hits, you're trying to win.
Yeah.
You know, the Azami Mind Over Matter combo, to just kind of throw that out there.
Wait, that's a thing?
You stop.
That was
He,
legal. It's legal in 3DH.
yeah, I hate you. I'm surprised you haven't tried to like bring that. It's like, oh, it's not infinite. Somebody stops me. Look at all this big stuff I have to do, and I don't have like Soul Ring and blah blah blah. Look at my stupid argument.
No, I did have Zombie built in 3DH for a while, but I
But
never played
you're,
on stream.
but you
I was
decided that
good.
you wanted to stop being a terrible person. Understood.
No, I haven't decided that.
Nope, I haven't stopped being a terrible person yet. All right, so we hit red, we hit green, we hit black, we hit blue. We're gonna save the last one. So I threw a wrench in the plan, quote unquote. When we were doing this idea, there was one card that I wanted to talk about that doesn't have the god subtype. Do you know what it is? You know what it is, Phyrexian?
Does it have God in its name?
It does. It's gonna be, and he's actually had gotten his name before. But it's Nicobolus, Dragon God.
Nikki B.
This is dumb. I'm sorry. Like every
is
time I
dumb?
look at this is dumb.
Why do you think this is dumb?
I'll tell you why. Because he is blue, black, 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 red. Starts off with 4 loyalty. Like all the planeswalkers of this set, he has a passive ability, and this is what I think is dumb. Nicol Bolas Dragon God has all loyalty abilities of all other planeswalkers on the battlefield. And the reason why I think it's dumb is it's very reminiscent of the Urza unstable card, where like
Oh, where the plus was like you do a random plus and then the minus was
yeah,
you do a minus.
and they were basically all the previous planeswalkers things. And I bet you that website even updates to have like new ones, because you had to go to a website like whatsupurza.com or something like that. I forget what it was, and you had to like roll a plus die or roll a minus die or roll an ultimate die or something like that. Anyway, the rest of Nicobol's abilities though are +1, you draw a card, each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. It does not say that. It does not say non-land permanent, so this can be kind of rough. -3, destroy target creature or planeswalker, which is, in line with the story right now. -8, each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or planeswalker loses the game. So there you go, Commander players. You have a chance to save yourself if you're not board wiped. And since we can't run planeswalkers as commanders, that doesn't help you either. Thanks. No, but I do think Nicobolus in this state, like the Dragon God state, having a you win or everybody loses, I should say, mechanic is on theme.
Yeah. I think this card is very thematic for Bolas.
Yeah. I just that passive makes things so
passive
much more complicated.
Good lord.
Ready to
Don't
see
you
this
wanna
run
do
in
it, though?
every Joda Super Friends deck? Look, just
Yeah, that's
because
what
I
I'm
thought
saying.
about it doesn't mean you get to judge me.
Hey, no, I was 100% on the same page. Like, I don't even think it's just every Joda Super Friends deck. I think it's most Super, like almost all Super Friend decks. I mean, triple black is hard to cast, but
Yeah.
you always got your Nisa. What's that one? The Oath of Nisa. So
Oh
mana
yeah,
can
yeah.
be paid as any sort. So, and you've got ways to cheat it. So
Chromatic Lantern. If you're playing a
Chromatic
5C
Lantern.
deck, like my Joda deck runs Chromatic Lantern just so that I always have access to it. Or you just use Joda to play Wooburg, because sometimes getting the Wooper can be easier than getting the triple black. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, definitely.
Um,
Especially since a lot of your like super frenzy cards are more like in the Bant.
yeah,
Like, yeah, you see some black and yeah, you see some red, but most of your super frenzy cards are in your Bant pie. So triple black, I do think would be hard in a lot of super frenzy decks to do. But you've got all the way, like I said, you've got the ways to cheat it. So I
yeah.
think he just goes in because why wouldn't you want to be able to do all the things again?
I do think that it's kind of funny that probably one of the strongest Planeswalker cards we're ever gonna really see, right? Uh, Especially for Super Friends decks, and it can't go in Atraxa decks.
That is true.
It can go in decks with Atraxa in 5C, but it can't go in Atraxa decks because Atraxa, Urabrask, was the hero we all needed, and didn't want to participate in that little project.
No.
I played some Super Friends Joda, but more Pillow Fort because the simple fact, crawl, space, propaganda, sphere safety, and most Planeswalkers just be using 9 bullets for the. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Super Friends decks will either run. Most Super Friends decks run a lot of board wipes. Like, that's the answer to everybody else's, hey, you just won't have creatures anymore because then I get to keep my Planeswalkers. But Pillow Fort is also not completely out of the ordinary either. Like, I've seen people running at least Propaganda and Ghostly Prison, and sometimes even Norn's Annex, which that was a little bit more rare, but it's probably a price thing, I think, or like an availability thing. Uh, but
I
I
also
keep
like to say this fails the doubling season test.
yeah,
If
because
doubling
you
season's in play, here comes Bolus, and you can ult him. And if they happen to not have a legendary
yeah
creature or planeswalker, congratulations, you just lost the game because I had doubling season in this.
yep. At least the only like plus side is that you have to have 4 colors then to do it all, like concurrently. So doubling season turn 5, and then Nicol Bolas turn 6, negating whether or not you have like ramped up or anything
I
like
think
that.
you can do it faster in Joda
Yeah, well, maybe
ramp and everything else.
because you're well with Jody, you're still paying 10 mana. You know what I mean? In a Ramos deck, you might be able to do it kind of stupidly if you can get the counters on Ramos. Doubling cube works too. Yeah, but you doubling season does double initial loyalty. Yes, because the enter the battlefield effect puts the counters on. You just open up New Dark Cloud's whole world.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the big trick with
That's
or the
why people want doubling season banned.
yeah, the big thing about doubling season that people it or catches people up is that when they go to use an ability, they think that's gonna be doubled as well, but
Yeah,
it
but it's
doesn't
not.
because that's a payment. That activating a loyalty ability, the plussing of the loyalty or the minusing is your activation cost. That's not an effect. Like tapping mana is not in effect, so you don't get to double that part. Because doubling season says whenever in effect would put counters or tokens onto the battlefield double. So yeah, but the enter the battlefield putting loyalty counters on there, that's an enter the battlefield effect. That's why you get them extra. So doubling season is really good for any kind of proliferate, any kind of planeswalkers entering the battlefield, stuff like that. So yep. And yes, that is why a lot of people, with the whole argument over planeswalkers as commanders that's been surfacing the past like month or so, that's why a lot of people are like doubling season has to be banned, or else Bant and Green and Simic and basically green decks get this huge broken bust.
Yeah.
My cockatrice friends are about to hate me.
Parallel Lives does not work with planeswalkers.
Yeah, Parallel Lives is
Parallel
just
Lives
tokens.
exclusively says tokens and
No, just tokens. You're
is it just
thinking
tokens?
Primal Vigor is the one
Primal
that does
Vigor
counters,
does, yeah, Primal Vigor does both.
but it's only
Tokens
plus
and
one plus one counters.
Yeah.
So doubling season is the only one that says counters of any kind get doubled, and it's
Yeah.
for you only. That's another reason why it's kind of stupid. Like Primal Vigor, I think is at least everybody gets them.
Primal Vigor is everyone.
Yeah,
Parallel Lives is just you, but it's
Yeah.
only token.
yeah. So doubling season is the big Planeswalker
Doubling
card.
season is just you for everything.
Yeah. Is there anything other than doubling season that doubles? Nope. Not that doubles. Otherwise, you just use proliferate.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say, or maybe like Shronic Resonator, but that won't work that way. Because again, the loyalty counters are the payment. You'll get double the effect, but you won't get double the
Yeah, Stronic Resonator is a good way.
Yeah. Both of
So they're
yeah, Oaths of Gideon will give you the extra loyalty at the beginning. And then like Oaths of Teferi lets you use the ability twice. Chainveil lets you use ability twice. So there are ways to get a lot of loyalty, but doubling season is going to be the only thing that doubles it ETB. Then there's Deep Glow Skate, which will basically allow you to double any kind of counters on any kind of permanents.
Yeah.
This
you can tell
Nicobolus
this man has a Super Friends deck.
I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, like, you calm down. This Knuckleball thankfully isn't Wooburg, or he could use the 3 CMC Dovin or Huatley, the Radiant Champion. Yeah. There's a blue card I'm trying to remember what's it called. Can change the text is why I use Parallelize. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, there's a couple cards in Mono Blue that has like, oh, you can change a word in cards. They're a lot older because I think they're probably too complicated to be like printed nowadays. Like maybe reprints every once in a while, I guess. But they kind of like went away from that a long time ago. But yeah, there's a few things. It's more popular to like change the color of a card. I think there's only like 4-ish cards that allow you to basically like change a word in a spell's effect, and they're all really really janky. So you could potentially change like token to counters or something like that. And then even then, I think there are some restrictions to it. But whatever. All right, so for this next part, we're gonna let you guys know out there in YouTube, out there in podcast world, and if you're with us here on Twitch, if you do not want to see or hear about Oketra before she is spoiled, go away.
Yeah, leave
Because
right now.
just get out.
Because we're about to do it.
Because we are gonna talk about it. It was leaked. I think today when it came out. The card that I have is going to be not translated, so I do have a translation up in the other field. But we're gonna show it.
So,
This is God Eternal Oketra. We all kind of knew that she was going to be there for the cycle, but we're going to show it. Art
3
is
and 2
cool.
white. Zombie God with double strike. 3/6, just like old Oketra. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 4/4 black zombie warrior token with vigilance.
Yeah.
And then when God Eternal Oketra dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library, third from the top, same as the other ones.
It's a card. I don't think it's the best card. It's got some synergies with the fact that it's black zombies. Warrior tokens, there's some tribal support for warriors. There are 4/4s with the vigilance, so that's pretty cool too. Mono white has Anointed Procession nowadays, so you can get extra tokens that way. But I don't know. I think there's better things to do, even in mono white, than this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would you want to? I do like the one thing I did.
I would
notice.
not run it as the commander.
Yeah.
But I could see running it in like the 99 of a token deck.
I do like the idea. This is kind of like a throwback, but in the original Amonkhet ones, no, not in the original Amonkhet ones, but in the Ixalan, the Elder Dinosaurs, they always had power equal to their converted mana cost, and their power and toughness were like the same for the what was its name? The Talpa, the mono white one, was a 4/8 or something, and it cost 8. So it looked like it broke the cycle until you remember that it gave double strike, and that's kind of what they did with this one. It's a 3/6, so it looks like it's weaker, quote unquote, than all the other ones, but then it has double strike. I think I like stupid little details like that. It comes together. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know that's like not super important, but She's also perfect with her monument. Yeah, it's thematic that they're zombie warriors, which is kind of weird, right? Like all the other like Dread Horde based cards, like basically Bolus's whole army has been zombie army tokens, and then this comes out with zombie warriors. I don't know why. It's really odd.
You don't know why they swallowed a fly?
All right, you know what? Look here, teacher boy. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna be like mono white casting a lot of creatures, then I guess you would want to play a lot of creatures that also make tokens. So like the Geist Monk card from Innistrad, where it makes 2 spirits, and then like you could have this running with Divine Visitation, so that you're, instead of getting the, if zombies and warriors don't matter to you, you're getting 4/4 flying angels with vigilance instead. I guess you could run it like that. And like even like the spirit tokens that you would make would also become angels, and then you have tutors for enchantments. I guess it's a deck. I guess it is kind of its own thing. And then you put it in like any kind of a zombie deck, and it just poops out zombies. Any kind of zombie deck, obviously, that runs white. As you're casting your regular zombies, you're just getting more zombies. So I guess I guess there's a lot of like subtle little like passive things about it that make it good, but I'm just not overall enamored with it compared to the other ones. What about you?
I'd say it's 4th on my lists.
Mm-hmm. What's the 5th one then?
Probably Ronus.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'd
Actually,
probably go Kefnet, then Bantu, then the Raised Boar, then this, and then Ronus.
yeah. Now, is your list? Are you including how strong they are as commanders, as well as how many decks they might go in the 99 of, or are you just talking about as commanders only?
That would be as commanders only. I
Okay.
think if I was switching it, I think if it was to 99, some of those rankings would change.
Yeah, I'm actually.
I think Kefnet's still at the top of my list either way, though.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I think I don't even know what my list would be if I try to factor both things in at once, but I think my list is pretty similar to yours. I think this and Ronus are probably switched around though. And Ilharg might be over Bantu. I think Bantu's fun and like combo-y, but I also in mono black there's just cards that already do that. So like, what are you really getting out of comboing with Bantu as opposed to comboing with any other black commander? Bantu is bottom for do voltage. The zombie 15 zombie deck doesn't want to sacrifice all their zombies to draw cards. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, all those 2/2 zombies, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I do get that the difference is zombie god, but I'm talking about in terms of mechanics, not necessarily flavor. New Dark Cloud is yelling at me, "You get a zombie god." That's why. It's not even like super like, it's funny because Bantu's not super zombie reliant. Like of all of them, the one that specifically is like, here's zombie synergy is the white one.
Yeah.
Because black doesn't matter if it's zombies. It's synergistic in the sense that zombies tend to have a lot of tokens. But that's it. Green zombies are typically not the biggest creatures at the table, so the plus the beefing them up doesn't super matter.
I don't know that that's not the case with the Amass, though. Like, Amass, your zombies could be pretty beefy.
Yeah, but most of the Amass cards are in Grisix.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's
all
fair.
the Amass cards are in Grisix. We haven't seen a single card, like, even, like, one of the Grisix colors and another color. So, like, we haven't seen Azorius Grisix. I mean, Azorius Amass cards. Or, like, Boros Amass cards. It's all, like, Bolus's colors Amass.
Yeah, that's fair.
Grisix is blue, black, and red. The name of the shard. There we go. I always go to say wedge, and then people yell at me because they're like, "It's not a wedge, it's a shard." Because wedges are from Tarkir, and it's like, look, okay, I get it. You're right. Shut up, though.
Well, I'm about to go rogue here because I feel like that we have to talk about one card for one of our other Predators.
What in the hell do we prep for if you're not gonna stick to the plan? I also have no idea what you're gonna say.
Because I feel like there was a card spoiled on Friday that if we don't talk about it, John will be very upset with us.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
And it is a legendary creature.
What?
It also happens to be a dragon avatar.
Oh, god damn it. Do we have to?
And its name is Niv Mizzet Reborn.
Name is
John would be
garbage.
disappointed if we didn't. You know he would be. So
Name
here
is
we are.
garbage.
It's white, blue, black, red, and green. Flying. When Niv Mizzet Reborn enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen cards in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
This is garbage. Q Voltage said this card is dumb AF. It's not garbage, it's garbage. I will say, I was actually like trying to come up with ways to not absolutely hate it, and one thing that I came up with is it grabs every one of the Tarkir legendary dragons, which that's pretty cool. So it can be kind of like a drag, like you could do dragon tribal with this, like I mean 5 colors tends to be pretty good at because there's so many good dragons in all the colors, and you could run like all 2-colored dragons, and your potential to get as many cards as possible goes up if you have more 2-color cards. So I'm not even like super mad about like the mechanics. I think the ability is just good enough to be worth it. I mean, digging 10 is good, right? There's no getting around that. And then you just have to build around the 2-color pairs. That's fine. Again, because there are so many good things that are 2 colors, not just dragons, but other spells too. It's just, I hate the flavor of this. It's bad. And then people are like cheering Niv Mizzet, and I'm like, you guys are you're all the worst. You're literally all the worst kinds of people.
You know why I like it though? Because we finally have a Niv Mizzet. Granted, they had to do it in 5 colors instead of just Izzet, but we finally have a Niv Mizzet that isn't just the same darn card over again.
You know what's funny though? He feeds a lot of the other Niv Mizzets. Like if
That
you
is fair.
and Niv
And you know
Mizzets.
what else? He also gets any of them
Yep.
when you run the top 10 cards.
Yep. You could almost run Niv Mizzet Tribal and have those be your only 4 cards, and then everything else is like draw spells and 2-color control cards. But I hate the flavor of this.
I do too, but I mean, I definitely think it's powerful because you just run stuff like Anguish Unmaking, you run Merciless
Yeah.
Eviction, you run Putrefy, you run. I mean, you just run all the good 2-color removal spells, 2-color. Like, I could love some 2-color tribal with this. 5-color, 2-color tribal.
Mechanically, it's not super bad. I think
No, it's not.
I think a lot of my
I
hate just came from the fact of I don't like what this implies for the story, and I don't like the way people are reacting to it.
Yeah.
But again, like digging 10 down, even if you whiff, but none of those 10 cards were cards that you wanted to see in the next 10 draws anyway, like you just move them to the bottom so you have better like filtration. And again, you're probably gonna hit at least, I think somebody was doing the math, and like the average is you're gonna hit at least 2 cards, with 3 being kind of like the most believable percentage or something like that. I'm sure you could probably figure out the math too, but that's just what I saw somebody trying to work out. So if you dig into 10 cards and you come away with 3 new cards after playing a 5-mana spell, that's not terrible. That means you know what 7 cards you're not going to draw out of your deck. And unless you needed that mono-colored spell, which you're probably not going to pack your deck with spells that you really, really want that you're not going to hit. Like you rattled off a bunch of good ones.
I think I agree with you in the term that it's a card that it can be good, it can be powerful if you build it correctly. But at the same time, like it is kind of a flavor fail, and I don't exactly like the fact that why can't Niv Mizzet just stay dead?
I don't even like he didn't even need to die. Like he could have come back and been super strong. But for him to come back in all the colors in Ravnica, it was almost like any other world would have been fine. This would have been fine. And so, all right, you know what? Everybody sit down because we're going to go over this real quick. This is bad for Ravnica. Everybody, my biggest complaint has been people's reaction to this, like, "Oh, Niv Mizzet's gonna save us." No, Niv Mizzet's an asshole. If you don't think that, then you have not read any of the stories. He's an egotistical, selfish prick. And having him have this kind of power and then feeding into his ego is horrible for Ravnica. Sure, Bolus is the bigger, badder evil, but it's literally like, I want the lesser of two evils to get rid of the higher of two evils, and then I'm going to be left with an evil because it's still the lesser of two evils. Sure, I don't want Ravnica to be destroyed by Bolus, but I also don't want Niv Mizzet in charge. That's bad. Because Niv Mizzet's going to do nothing about any of the problems of Ravnica if it doesn't serve what he wants or what he thinks is a good idea. And he's never going to listen to anybody else because that's Niv Mizzet. You can't tell Niv Mizzet anything because then he's going to get pissed off that you think you're smarter than him. That's Niv Mizzet. In a nutshell, this is a terrible thing for Ravnica. At least Niv Mizzet will leave you alone if you don't bother him. I disagree. Now that he's in this position, he is going to want to be in charge of everything. He's going to turn around and basically be like, if I'm the big bad here, everybody should just listen to me. And not even like big bad, but if I'm the biggest guy on campus, you should be listening to me. And if you don't, well, I'm going to get pissed off and do something about it. He's not going to care about what the guilds want. He's going to care about what he wants. And and then from a flavor perspective, he's not the guild pact. He's not. He's a science experiment now. He made this happen with all like the experimentation and stuff. Like quasi duplicate kind of hints toward him trying to do something like this, like clone himself in case he dies. Like that's been kind of the thing. How he tapped into the other colors, don't know, don't like it. He's not the avatar of Ravnica, which a lot of people have been saying. That's not what he is. He's a science experiment. That's all it is. He's not Ravnica's like embodiment or protector. Because Ravnica's embodiment has always been to separate by those two color combinations. That's been the point to Ravnica since day one. The fact that you combine them all, that's actually almost a perversion of what you're doing. I'm mad about this.
There's balance that comes from it. But anyway, we had to talk about it. Let's.
I'm so mad. Why did you do this? I hate you so much.
We had to for John.
He hasn't absorbed the plane's energy. That's not what it is. I actually don't know how the science experiment works.
We'll see how they actually write this into the story because right now we're just all making suppositions. But
yeah. He's not the hero of Ravnica. Not my Ravnica. Hashtag not my Ravnica.
Hashtag not my Ravnica. Hey, wow.
There's gonna be like a fourth thing to Ravnica. Honestly, if I know we're not gonna stay on Ravnica after the set, like there's almost no chance that they could do that theoretically, but I don't think they're going to. If that were to happen, honestly, I would think the storyline would be that now what do we do about Niv Mizzet? If somebody doesn't think that in Ravnica, like if a Ravnican doesn't think that, a non-Izzet probably Ravnican, because most Izzet people are very loyal to Niv Mizzet, and I'm sure they're very happy to see him back, and I understand that. But if the other 9 guilds don't suddenly turn around and be like, well, now what do we do? Because, and that's like one of the also the reasons why I don't like this thing happening to a guild pact or to a guild member. If anybody should ever become like the guild pact person or like in charge of Ravnica, it should probably be a guildless person. Because they have the outward view of everything. Anybody else is always going to have their guild at best interest. Teysa, who is a character I like, would not have all of Ravnica's interests at heart. Tajik, who has always come across in the stories as a pretty good guy who wants the guilds to work together, should not be the guild pact. Because guess what? He's going to think of things from a Boros perspective. The only time, like even Jace has been a terrible idea because he has to leave all the time, but that was the only redeeming quality about him being the guild pack, was that he didn't look at things from a guild's perspective. He looked at things from a, you're all stupid because you are all constantly screwing each other over and making it worse for other people around you. So I would think a guildless person should become this. And obviously there's no like legendary guildless people, but
But why not Niv Mizzet?
I'm so mad. I could
I could
literally
tell.
sit here for another episode. I've actually come up with arguments to why this is a bad idea and subpoints. Like, I have a speech prepared.
Well,
Like, that's some of it that I just did.
but we don't have time for the whole speech. So
No, we will sit here
let's,
and I
let's
will complain.
let's wrap this.
If you
Let's
like
talk
doing
about some
this.
legendary creatures again. All of these legendary creatures, I think, are playable.
Yeah.
All of them. Even Niv Mizzet, whether you like him or not, he's a playable card.
Yeah.
Whether you
Mechanically, he's
like what he
fine.
represents for the story and everything, he's playable.
Yeah.
Very playable. But I could definitely see myself wanting to play this Niv Mizzet more than the other three.
Yeah. He offers something different. That's
Yeah, he
that's always
offers something
been
different and something interesting,
that's always been
and
kind of
even
like Niv
something
Mizzet's
interesting to five
downfall.
color. You know,
Yeah.
even
Niv
something
Mizzet's
interesting to five color because it's like I'm trying to do 2-color tribal within 5 color instead of just
yeah.
trying to play the best of the 5 color cards I can play.
Yeah. Niv Mizzet's downfall has always been that the first time, okay, it was cool, it was a combo card. Second time was this is basically the first one, just worded a little differently, and the same combo cards work. And then the third time was like, okay, what are we doing right now, Wizards? You literally keep printing the same thing, changing a little bit about how we get there mechanically, but it's still combos with all the same stupid cards.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this
why not
this
curiosity every single time?
yeah. So this is actually something different for Niv Mizzet, which that I'm fine with. Again, mechanically the card's fine. The more you think about it, the more it's really good because you could do like people were talking about doing like Charm Tribal, Charms being like the Azorius Charm and whatnot and stuff like that. Obviously, the like Shard and Wedge Charms wouldn't really work, but like the Kolagon, the command cards from Tarkir, Kolagon's command and Tarka's command, all those stuff, like they could fit in here too. Like you could do stuff like that where like you're spell slinger 5 color, and that would be fine. Uh, would you want a Nim Izzet in Izzet that didn't do what you want a Nim Izzet to do? Honestly, I think we could have just dealt with not having another Nim Izzet. Like, if there had been a card depicting his death and his heroic death somehow, I don't know. Again, I didn't need the character to die, but like, if they had handled him as just like a spell card as opposed to a creature card, I would have been fine with that. Again, it's literally just I think this is just bad for Ravnica after Bolus. It's just gonna be Bolus, the otherworldly invader, is gone, and in my opinion, Niv Mizzet is just gonna be the Ravnican invader. He's just the overlord that lives here. That's it. You can argue with me all you want, but you're wrong. Anyway, if you enjoy us talking about all this nonsense every week like we do, make sure you're joining us every Monday, 9 p.m. or 9:10 on some days, because, Phyrexian doesn't pick up the call, Eastern Time, twitch.tv/Praetor Magic. You can also find us on twitter.com/Praetor Magic, facebook.com/Praetor Magic, instagram.com/Praetor Magic, and of course, the thing that started it all, youtube.com/Praetor Magic. We also have a public Discord that you can join to talk about Magic and all kinds of other things that are nerd culture. There will be a link to that down below because unfortunately Discord doesn't just do a discord.com/Praetor Magic. I don't know why. You can find me on Twitter at DM_cross. I also write articles for EDHREC, which you can find every other Friday over at edhrec.com. We are now also sponsored by Inked Gaming, which I didn't say in the beginning. Sorry. InkedGaming.com. Their tagline being "Your Game, Your Style." They do custom playmats, mousepads, dice bags. Now doing T-shirts, I believe, is officially revealed, and they're talking about doing some other stuff that's really cool. We have submitted for Praetor Magic to have a playmat on their site, so hopefully that'll be really cool. If you use the sponsorship link that's going to be down below to order whatever it is that you're going to order, or use our coupon code for 10% off, it's Praetor10, Praetor10. It helps us out because we get kickbacks. Thanks. Phyrexian, you don't really exist, so where can we find you? Because you're not real.
I exist on the Discord. And one announcement, as it may sort of become a tradition that we announce frequently our stream themes when we decide we're going to have stream themes for Thursday night 3DH on our Monday night podcast, just so you know you got to show up to get it firsthand, and then you can see it in the Discord afterwards after a while. But this week, you notice we talked about one type of card a lot in this podcast. And so based on the fact we talked a lot about god cards, the theme for this week is it's good to be a god. So if you're playing on this Thursday stream, you're gonna be, and yes, if anybody's seen the movie El Dorado remembers it, I totally stole that from the song from El Dorado. But yeah, we're gonna be playing gods. There are 23 legal 3DH gods that can be played, and we're all gonna be playing one of them. Seth will pick one, I'll pick one, and whatever two brave volunteers decide to step into the ring with us this week will also play a god.
Question.
Yes.
Can I play the false god?
Does it have god in the type?
I don't know, actually. Hold on.
I don't think it does. But if it does,
has god in
sure.
the title.
But
It's
I
a
don't care about
legendary.
the
It's an avatar.
yeah, nope.
What do you mean?
Has to be creature type god.
But what do you mean?
Because it's good to be a god, not good to
It
be
is-
an avatar that's named a god.
It's named a god. We talked about a card that was not a god in this podcast. That was all about
That
gods.
card cannot be played as your commander anyway.
Yeah, it will be. If you sit at the table with me, you can. Haha!
Yeah,
Got him.
That's the theme. It's good to be a god.
I don't know what I want to play.
I don't either yet.
All right, let us know in the Discord if you want to play in that game. That's going to be Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, make sure you tune in tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Danny and John are going to be playing some more variety games. And John actually, over the weekend, kind of just turned on the stream. He was playing Pokemon Crystal on his computer. And I sat there and I talked while he played. And it was a good time. So kind of if you're following the stream, keep an eye on like your email notifications. Because I guess every once in a while we're just going to turn on streams when we feel like playing stuff that is streamable. So yep, until next time, until tomorrow, I'll see everybody in the chat tomorrow. Danny and John will see you guys in the chat, and then me and Phyrexian will see you guys on Thursday. So that's all we got. Peace.
Night.
I gotta find the button. I'm always on the wrong screen.